Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome. Today we will have an in-depth look on Paladin class in Ragnarok Mobile. Paladin is considered to be the ultimate tank. It boasts the highest base HP and defense while still being able in inflicting great burst damage. A very in-demand class for ET, it is also considered to be a top tier in PvP. As one of the loyal followers of the Church of Odin, the Crusaders and Paladins have the skill set on inflicting increased damage on the undead and other unholy beings, all the while protecting and enhancing the defense of their party members. This guide will discuss the following: stat build, skill build, pros and cons of the different Paladin builds, equipments, runes, leveling tips, farming spots, and some other miscellaneous but important tips. In order to properly discuss all the topics above, we will be splitting this guide into multiple videos. In this video, we will be discussing the stats and skill builds from Swordsman, Crusader, and finally to Paladin. First, let's discuss on the important stats. Strength. Strength increases your physical damage while having a neat little bonus on increasing your bug slot count. This stat is also the main damage multiplier for the Shield Chain, Holy Cross, and Grand Cross skills. Vitality. Vitality increases your max HP, HP regen, and physical defense while being the main stat for increasing shield boomerang damage. Paladins are natural tank. Even without increasing this vitality stat, Paladins can tank most normal mobs without any problem. But once you start tanking MVPs, vitality starts to shine and becomes the main stat you need. And once you pump this one up, you will quickly notice why Paladins are considered to be the ultimate tank. Dexterity. Dexterity increases your hit rate while reducing the cast time. For usual everyday grinding, Dexterity only needs to be a total of 60, including the additional bonus you get from the equipments and other stuff, in order to have a no-cast shield chain. Intelligence. Intelligence increases your max SP, SP regen, and magic defense. It is another stat multiplier for the Holy Cross and the Grand Cross build. Intelligence is also important in tanking higher level MVPs, since most of the damage will start coming from their spells. This stat also increases the HP recovery of your heal skill, which is another great tool to be utilized during tanking. We also need to talk about attribute points. Each level does not directly give you a stat point to raise. Instead, each level will give you attribute points. The higher the point on a particular stat, the higher attribute point requirement it needs in order to raise. For more info, you can check another video link in the description below for better understanding on Ragnarok's attribute points. At level 10, just like any other class, you can go to the Adventurers HQ and get the quest to become a swordsman. It is recommended to pump all your stats first to strength in order to increase your damage, with the bash skill as your low-cost damage dealing skill. You'll have no problems going till the second job with only this skill. At level 20, start adding dexterity to your stat. The goal is to have at least 50 to 60 hit rate by level 25 to 30, since mobs you are farming at this level usually have around 40 to 60 flee rate. It depends on your equipments, but personally, I keep it around 10 to 15 dex at this level. At level 40, I got around 20 dex while the rest is pumped in strength. Once you change job to a Crusader, there will be a huge boost on your HP and defense. At this point in time, you will have to decide whether to run a shield build or the holy build. If you are running the shield build, you can start pumping more dex to reduce casting time. Every 30 dex will reduce the cast time by 1 second, and since shield change cast time is 2 seconds, you will need at least 60 dex including the bonus stats in order to have it no cast. But it is not recommended to have it 60 right away. North of 30 dex is enough for now, while the rest is put still on strength until you become a paladin. If you are running the holy build, dexterity can be kept around 20 to 30, while you can mix and match STR into your liking, since both stat increases the Holy Cross damage. Strength increases your normal attack if you don't have mana, while intelligence ensures that you have mana most of the time. Note that for both builds, it is still not recommended to put vitality since it won't help you in any way in grinding. However, if you are really forced to do the tanking, we can only recommend to have it at 20 max, unless you always have a party to leech your way until Paladin. Once you reach Crusader job 40, it's time for the real deal. If you are running the shield chain build, get the 60 dex ASAP and 80 SDR. Once you get that stat, you can decide whether to continue until 90 strength or start pumping your vitality stat in order to start tanking. We highly recommend not going beyond 90 since starting then it becomes very inefficient. For the holy build, you can raise your dexterity for a bit if you are starting to miss. The rest of the stat can still be split evenly between strength and intelligence. You can also start raising vitality in order to tank and use the Grand Cross skill. The third option that opens up once you become a paladin is to do a tank build in which shield boomerang is used as the main grinding skill. Note however that shield boomerang's 4-second CD is very inefficient in grinding, but still doable. Vitality and intelligence is a must for an effective tank build in order to face both physical and magical damage. However, only do this build if your guild urgently needs a tank to be online immediately, and you don't have much funds to buy great equipments to compensate the tanking. Again, stick with the stat that is the main damage multiplier of this skill to raise, but don't go beyond 90 in order to be efficient in your attribute points. You can distribute the rest to dexterity, intelligence, and vitality depending on your goal and on your current equipment until you reach the max level. The only exemption is if you go tank build wherein every point of vitality counts. The next topic we will discuss is the skill build. Swordsman skill is pretty straightforward. Bash will be your main damage dealing skill until you reach Crusader. Increased recuperation must also be maxed out. Magnum Break usually can be left at level 1 since it is usually only needed for its increased damage and fire buff. SP cost of this skill is a little bit too high as a swordsman to become a main damage dealing skill. Taunt is also important to be maxed out if you are tanking, and the rest can be put on Endure. As for Sword Mastery, you can choose to max it out if you are using Sword, or not put any points at all if you are planning to use Spear Mastery. Just note though that if you want to go Holy build, using Spear is a must. Crusader skills will depend if you go to the Path of Light or to the Path of Shield, but whatever build you get, always ensure to have Auto Guard at level 10. For Shield build, get Charge at level 3, then Chain at level 10. Get Spear Mastery if you need it or none at all. You can also choose to only have Cavalry Combat at level 1 if you have the SP Discharge to keep spamming skill, or have it at level 5 if you need to do auto attacks, and maybe include Cavalry Mastery to utilize the large size increased damage. For Holy build, you need both Holy Cross and Spear Mastery at level 10, since going this path forces you to use Spear type weapons. Since Holy build also lets you raise your int stat, you can opt to put the remaining skill points to heal seal, or you can rather get Cavalry Combat and Mastery, whatever is up to your fancy. Get also Devotion by at least level 1 since you will never know when will you need it. Increasing it will only increase the duration, but personally, I keep it at level 3. Divine Protection is also a good skill once you start tanking by increasing the defense and reducing the undead or shadow damage, but it is lesser priority unless you go full tank build. Finally, we go to Paladin skill tree. With this, another build opens up. Shield Boomerang is the definition of tank build, with Vitality as its main damage multiplier. It boasts the highest single target damage of Paladin skill. Note however that it has a 4-second CD, and if you are running a Shield Boomerang only skill during grinding, that 4-second CD where your character is not moving still count towards your stamina. Get Pleased for increased Vitality and healing received, while Providence and Fate will also make you tankier. The remaining 10 skill points you can distribute towards Selfless Shield, Defending Aura, Reflect Shield, and Sacrifice. All has its own unique purpose. Selfless Shield to help your party survive a sudden ambush, while Defending Aura helps if you are facing ranged attackers. Note also that Defending Aura's buff can be passed to your party members through Devotion skill without the debuff. If you decide to go towards the latter, not only that your build is a tank build, it will also turn to a PvP build. Reflect Shield skill reflects melee damage, which is a bane to the knights, assassin, and all kinds of melee attackers. They can die trying to hurt you, that's why it's recommended to have it at level 10 if you enjoy PvP. Sacrifice, on the other hand, is a nightmare for classes with low HP. It has a fixed damage based on your health, and low HP characters such as thieves, archers, and mages will die like flies. These two skills are the reason why Paladin is considered to be a top tier class in the current PvP scene. Shield Chain build is more or less similar to the pure tank build, except for the fact that you are just starting to raise your vitality stat. Using Shield Chain more often, then use Shield Boomerang every time it's out of cooldown. You can also add Retribution skill instead of Fate or Providence for additional damage. The last damage dealing skill is the good old Grand Cross, a holy type spell that does not miss its mark and hit at most 6 enemies at a time. Like Holy Cross, the damage increased is based on strength and intelligence, but you yourself will also receive damage. As such, if running the holy build, it's imperative to get both Providence and Fate. Providence increases Holy Cross and Grand Cross damage while reducing its attack to self, while Fate increases your max HP and adds significant holy damage reduction, which reduces Grand Cross damage to self. Bliss is also recommended in order to heal yourself better, while the remaining skill points can be used for the heal skill back in the Crusader class if you still did not get it. Before we end this video, I wanna share a very important tip. Try to reach Class C Adventurer as soon as possible. In order to effectively tank and grind, Paladins usually need to switch build frequently. Both stats and skills needed are different for effective grinding and tanking. As such, having the Emir's book to switch build freely is a heaven's gift for the Paladins. And that's it for this video. We will continue this in-depth guide in succeeding videos, so stay tuned and hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. Happy gaming!